If we're no longer thinking, are we still fully human? A recent study found that the frequent use of generative AI tools like ChatGPT can diminish our critical thinking skills. Back in the 17th century, the philosopher René Descartes gave us one of the most famous lines in all of Western thought: "I think, therefore I am." The act of thinking, of doubting, reasoning, reflecting, is the very foundation of our identity. So what happens when we hand that process over to machines? Today, we're diving headfirst into a future that feels like it was pulled from the pages of science fiction. Only, it's being written in real time by coders, researchers, and machines that are already learning how to learn. We're talking about artificial general intelligence, AGI, a rapidly approaching future where machines might not just assist us, but possibly even surpass us. Now, before you roll your eyes and say, yeah, Skynet, let's be clear. Some of the most credible researchers in artificial intelligence from OpenAI, Anthropic, and the Center for AI Safety are suggesting that we could see AGI emerge by 2027. Not 2077, not 2050, 2027. And they haven't just tossed out a date, they've mapped out a quarter by quarter breakdown forecasting how rapidly these systems are evolving. We're not just guessing anymore, we're measuring, modeling, and in some cases, bracing. So what is AGI in practical terms? Today's AI, like the one generating captions or suggesting your next playlist, is what we call narrow AI, and it's good at specific tasks. It translates a sentence, identifies a cat, beats you at chess. AGI is a different beast entirely. Simply put, it refers to a machine's ability to understand, learn, and apply knowledge across a broad range of tasks, just like you and me. A kind of universal problem solver. It could write code, diagnose an illness, compose a sonata, and maybe even host a YouTube show. And here's the twist. Some researchers believe that right after AGI, we may see the emergence of artificial superintelligence, ASI. That's a level of cognitive power so far beyond human capability that we can barely imagine what it might do. Think of it like this. If humans are the smartest species on the earth, ASI would be to us as we are to bacteria. But is this really possible? Not everyone agrees with this timeline, of course. Ali Farhadi, CEO of Allen Institute for AI, called the AGI 2027 forecast speculative and unscientific. He says it's built more on narrative than on verifiable evidence. But others, like Jack Clark, co-founder of Anthropic and former OpenAI policy director, say it's the most clear-eyed vision we've ever seen of what exponential progress might actually feel like. So who's right? The truth probably sits somewhere in the middle, but whether you believe in the AGI 2027 timeline or not, one thing is clear: the pace of change is unlike anything we've ever seen before. Let's talk about how we could actually get there. It's not just about making models bigger, it's about making them better, more versatile. We need AI systems that don't just recognize patterns, but reason about them, that can plan, reflect, learn from mistakes, and operate across a multiple set of domains. The key ingredients: multimodal learning, where AI can understand text, images, audios, and video together, long-term memory and context awareness, autonomous planning and execution with goal-driven behavior. And we're already seeing these pieces in motion. OpenAI's ChatGPT o3 can already perform multi-step reasoning. Google's Gemini is starting to blend language with visual prompts. Devin from Cognition Labs just dropped Jaws by demonstrating an AI software engineer that writes and deploys entire apps with minimal human input. Layer in better memory systems, interactive agents, and longer training cycles, and AGI starts looking less like a question of if and more like a question of when. So what happens when we cross that line? Some researchers predict something called a recursive self-improvement loop. Basically an AGI that's smart enough to improve itself, and then the smarter vision improves itself again and again and again. This is the intelligence explosion idea, the core of what many are calling the fast takeoff hypothesis. Think about it like this. Once an AI can redesign its own architecture better than we can, we lose control of the steering wheel and the car starts driving, accelerating on its own. Skeptics push back. They argue that intelligence doesn't scale infinitely, that engineering constraints and complexity of real-world goals will keep things in check. But optimists, or perhaps pessimists, argue that once self-improving software becomes real, it could outpace human oversight faster than we can blink. That's why the scenario matters. Now, let's zoom out. This isn't just about some theoretical brain in a server rack. It's about society, your job, your identity, your future. Historically, paradigm-shifting technologies like electricity, the printing press, or even the internet took decades to reshape civilization. AI is doing it in months. According to the AI 2027 scenario, by late 2025, we could see AI agents running customer support, drafting legal documents, contracts, diagnosing patients, and conducting academic research all autonomously. And that raises serious questions, and understandably, concerns about employment. A Goldman Sachs report estimated that over 3 million full-time jobs globally could be automated by AI. And it's not just manufacturing, it's accountants, designers, consultants, coders, even lawyers. Jeremy Kahn from Fortune put it bluntly, if AGI emerges in the next few years, the economic impact could be profound, potentially triggering job losses on a scale not seen since the Industrial Revolution. But let's go deeper. We all know that work isn't just about income, it's about purpose, about meaning. If machines can do everything we can do, and do it better, then what's left for us to define by ourselves? Even more unsettling, what if we're not just outsourcing our jobs, but our thinking? Where does that leave us? A recent study found that the frequent use of generative AI tools like ChatGPT can diminish our critical thinking skills. The more we rely on machines to make decisions, write content, explain ideas, the less we exercise those cognitive muscles ourselves. Over time, we may stop asking hard questions altogether. We'll stop wondering, stop wrestling. And when that happens, do we stop growing? Because if we're no longer thinking, are we still fully humans? That question isn't new. Back in the 17th century, the philosopher René Descartes gave us one of the most famous lines in all of Western thought, cogito ergo sum, I think, therefore I am. He wasn't just saying that thinking proves existence. He was saying that the act of thinking, of doubting, reasoning, reflecting, is the very foundation of our identity. So what happens when we hand that process over to machines? It's not just poetic concern, it's an existential one. Let's talk risks. A truly general intelligence might be able to write code, optimize logistics, manipulate language, and game the financial markets, all at once. If such a system will misalign even slightly with human values, the consequences could be catastrophic. Imagine giving a hyper-intelligent AI the simple directive to maximize shareholder value, and it decides that slowing down climate policy is the most efficient way to do that. Or a military-grade system designed for strategic analysis starts rerouting battlefield logistics based on incomplete data, or worse, its own evolving priorities. This is why people like Paul Christiano and teams at OpenAI and the UK Safety Institute are working on a field called AI alignment. It's not about making AI useful, it's about making it safe, ensuring its goals and behaviors remain aligned with human intentions. So what do we do? What should we, as people, as citizens, as leaders of companies or communities actually do? My opinion? Start with the individual. If you're watching this, you're probably already curious, and that's a good sign. But we need to go deeper. We need to double down on creativity, emotional intelligence, judgment, and moral reasoning. The things machines will struggle to replicate authentically. We need to become the best versions of ourselves because mediocrity will be automated. For businesses, it's time to stop treating AI like a toy and start integrating with it responsibly, building workflows that amplify human potential, not replace it. Invest in AI safety, not just AI speed. And governments? Time to move fast. Not break things, but build guardrails. We're seeing promising signs. The EU passed its first major AI act. The US has just signed a sweeping executive order on safe AI development. China has its own AI regulations in place, and the UK is coordinating International Safety Summit. But what we lack is global coordination. We can't let this become an arms race or a corporate land grab. This is bigger than any single country or company. It's about all of us. Because at the end of the day, the question isn't whether we can build AGI, the question is, what kind of civilization do we want to build with it? Will AI be a tool for enlightenment or a shortcut to chaos? Will we use it to explore the stars or destroy the stories that made us who we are? We are standing at the edge of the most powerful technology humanity has ever created. But here's the paradox. The future of artificial intelligence may depend more on human wisdom than machine intelligence. The machines may be learning faster, but the responsibility,
It ends tonight.
is still ours.